This presentation is for administration and faculty at Colorado Christian University for during the Faculty Development Retreat at the end of August. The focus is on Generation Z learning and the library. For this presentation, I was required to use the official CCU PowerPoint slides since the presentation will be given at one of our faculty retreats. Even though I was having to use the required slides, I wanted there to be interactive and non-lecture moments about every 5 to 6 minutes. That means in addition to the academic research included, there were interactive elements and lots of images used. I included 3 polls, 1 discussion forum, and a quiz/survey. For these items, I used the app GoSoapbox. Right here you can see here's the link to that GoSoapbox. Here's the access code, and here's the first poll question I have. If I open up this window, this is what I see. If I open up this window, this is what the audience sees. As you can see right now, only the one poll question, the very first one, and the discussion forum is open. On this side, that's because I've only unlocked one poll question and I've only unlocked the discussion forum. Throughout the presentation, I'll unlock the other elements. So for the Great Theologian question, I can click here, unlock it, and it pops over here. If I were to open the poll as the audience, I can click who is the greatest theologian, and then I can click one, submit my vote, and as of right now, you can see there's only one vote. However, this bar graph would change as other people voted. On my end, I can open it up, and I can see the continuing changes. This makes it more of a live stream element so people can see as the things are changing. As for the discussion, this is just happening throughout. So for a person, they could ask a question and hit add reply. And then on my end, I can have this open and just see the list of the different ones that people are asking throughout the presentation. For another type of poll question, the Great Theologian one, which I selected C.S. Lewis, this is more of an example and a poll. It's an example because it's using the concept for Generation Z on how they like to interact and look at things in a more of a creative way. So for this content, it's looking at the concept of the reality world on TV, whereas the audience, we get to engage and decide who stays and who goes. So this is an example of, based off of last week's debates on Trinity Island, which theologians should stay. So then they go on and they answer the question and they get to choose who they think the greatest theologian is. And this is just one other fun way to include a fun element for people, for the audience. Even though it could be it's an academic presentation, we can still have an engaging fun element. The survey is at the way end, and this includes, it's called a survey. On GoSoapbox, it's called the quiz. And this is just the element for feedback and includes open-ended questions, comments, gauging if they would use any of the teaching strategies and methods mentioned. Next, for the next goal, less words and more images, you can see that throughout the presentation I used images right here, Generation Z, so I can pull words from the image of the Z to discuss how we define Generation Z. Down here, this is just another image to highlight the different elements of the teaching methods that will be discussed. So it's not just a straightforward list on a white background. And then down here, when it comes to the library in Generation Z, it also has an image. So each time I change to a different topic within the presentation, I include an image. So Generation Z, we're defining the generation. Right here, we're talking about teaching methods in the generation. Right here, we're talking about the library in Generation Z. So really trying to re-engage them each time a new topic is brought in. At other moments, for different slides, there's less words used. So this one, there's no complete sentences on this one. This one only has bullet points of information. There are 2 slides that have more information, not less words, because this one, it's direct quotes, so I wanted to make sure it had all of the information there. And this one is just really to explain and define the chart over here that's being used. In addition to using less words and more images, another form of images is videos. So when introducing the concept of information and library anxiety when dealing with Generation Z, I thought this would be another element to include something that's funny and engaging. So for this one, I included a video, a short video, that is about Ghostbusters and the library scene. Since this is going to be faculty and administration, Ghostbusters is a good example to use for this audience. It's something that they can connect with. And this is just one where it's, once again, another funny way of a stereotype of the stingy, mean librarian. So this just shows a form of stereotype to once again loop the audience into and bring them into, hey, this discussion isn't going to be just me as the instructor talking the whole time, but something else to see. Finally, for this presentation, I decided to not have any paper handouts. So all the handouts are going to be sent digitally to the faculty and administration along with the entire faculty agenda for the faculty retreat day. Now that's going to have lots of presentations on it, so the 2 handouts will be included with that agenda. And the first handout is going to be a printout, or not printout, a PDF of the PowerPoint that is being presented. This is done because, as I stated, there's less words, maybe more images or polls or other forms of discussion. This way, the audience can write their own notes, whether they want to do that digitally on the PDF or if they want to print it out themselves and bring the PowerPoint to write their own notes. This is going to be the first handout. The second handout is going to be discussed with the teaching methods when all the different 3 teaching methods are talked about. This is a teaching method checklist. This can be used in 2 different ways. This can be used, one, for faculty to decide, are they already using these teaching strategies? Or 2, how can they implement these different forms of teaching strategies? First, the faculty member needs to decide, do they even have Generation Z in their classroom? Maybe they still have millennials. They're teaching an online course. They're teaching graduate level courses. They may not necessarily have Generation Z in their classroom. So here's a quick checklist for them to determine if they think that they have Generation Z in their classroom, and also some elements that are going to be included in their classroom if it is Generation Z. Next, you'll see the 3 different types that are discussed, and then the different ways that they can include. So maybe they already include having feedback, real-life experiences, PowerPoints with lots of images, clear fonts, less words. All of those are elements of effective lecturing, and professors could already be doing that. Or, however, maybe they look at their presentation, their lecture, and they're like, this is just pure lecture, them talking for an hour. They can look at this checklist and see creative ways to implement teaching strategies specifically for Generation Z. They can include, maybe they add role-playing or acting out course content for a leadership course. Or maybe there's some way that a theology course can include music and integrate the arts into their classroom. So this is a way that they can take away, see really quickly some ideas, some takeaways from the presentation on what really could help them specifically with their classes. That's all for this presentation. Thank you for listening.